and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be filming for you guys a what I eat in a day 16 weeks pregnant. So I am currently in the second trimester of my third pregnancy. I also have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, so a lot of the meals that you're going to see me make, I'm also feeding to them. So they're very friendly for kids, friendly for us pregnant ladies. It's a lot different than what I was eating in my first trimester, mainly because I wasn't eating anything in my first trimester. I am finally here at the 16-week mark and feeling like I can start eating real food again. If you saw my last pregnancy update video, I talked a lot about how I couldn't eat meat because of the texture, and it's still kind of the case for me. I'm not eating a ton of meat. A lot of my recipes are more plant-based. I'm not vegan by any means, though maybe one day I will transition to it. It has been a very eye-opening experience just listening to my body and feeding it what it wants, which ironically has been more plant-based. Don't get me wrong, I am still craving chocolate and like dessert and donuts and all of the junk food, but I have found myself more drawn to fruits, fresh vegetables, things like that versus meat. I'm also filming today because it is one of my meal prep days. I am a huge fan of meal prepping and planning because not only does it save a ton of money, but it saves me a ton of time during the week. I have 2 very active kids. I also work from home. My husband works from home. We're just really busy and juggling a lot of different balls in the air right now. And so cooking kind of falls to the wayside. But healthy, nutritious meals are very important to our family, and so we try to do a meal prep system so that we have good food that we can feed ourselves throughout the week without having to spend a ton of time preparing and making those meals when our kids are hungry, we're hungry, everybody's just angry. So thought today would be a good day to film all of that because then you can see what the recipes are that I'm making for my different meals throughout the week. You can see how I make them, what goes into them, things like that. And today is a full day of eating, so I'm gonna show you my breakfast, lunch, dinner, all of the snacks I eat, plus my nighttime snack because I'm pregnant and I'm hungry all of the time. So you might even notice that some of the snacks are a bit heavier than what maybe you eat as a snack or have eaten as a snack in the past. It's certainly heavier than what I have eaten in the past, but I found that as my belly is starting to grow, I'm needing to eat smaller meals throughout the day and more frequently. 1, because I'm hungry all of the time, but 2, I'm already starting to feel less space for food, if that makes sense. Lots of small meals throughout the day, but hearty and filling meals at the same time. So yeah, I've done enough chatting. This is probably a very long intro. Let's just get into it. So the first thing that I like to do when I wake up in the morning, my kids usually wake up around 6:30. I will make myself a glass of lemon water. I know that a lot of people say you should drink hot lemon water, that has the most benefits, but I don't like drinking hot lemon water. I find it really off-putting whether I'm pregnant or not. So I just squeeze half of a lemon into like a mason jar, and then I add cold tap water and drink that straight away. It helps wake me up a bit because we're all a little dehydrated when we first wake up, and it helps me feel a little more prepared, if that makes any sense. Like I won't be as hangry and I will feel a little more refreshed. Then for breakfast, lately these days I have been gravitating towards a smoothie or oatmeal. On this particular day, I am doing a smoothie, and it's a peachy green smoothie that I've really been enjoying. The ingredients are really simple. It's just a cup of frozen peaches, 1 banana, a handful of spinach, or you could use kale, but I prefer spinach. And then I do a 1/2 cup of yogurt. I am mostly dairy-free, mainly because I'm lactose intolerant and I've had issues with dairy. I eat a dairy-free yogurt. My favorite brand right now is the Forager brand. It's a cashew yogurt. I get the plain one because there's less sugar in it and I can kind of use it as a base for whatever I want and add my own flavors to it. I add a heaping tablespoon of almond butter. Then I'll add a couple of mint leaves just to kind of brighten everything up and refresh me a bit more. And then I do about a half a cup to 1 cup of water and a couple of dates. Then I just screw the top on. We use a NutriBullet, which is very, very handy if you're in the market for a blender. I highly recommend the NutriBullet. This is not sponsored. I love it. It's super easy to clean and use, and it makes my mornings go by a lot quicker because I don't have a giant blender to clean out afterwards. And then that's it. I have a nice, healthy, refreshing green smoothie, and I do drink an entire one of these. It's my breakfast, so it's a lot, but it holds me all morning. Like I mentioned, my kids often will eat what I'm eating, and so after I make my smoothie, while I'm sipping on it, I actually make that whole smoothie over again, and then I divvy it out into 2 cups to give to my kids. Next is snack time, and my favorite snack is a cup of coffee with something pastry-like. Regardless of being pregnant, I am trying to be healthier. So what I did was, the day before filming this video, I made a batch of my gluten-free banana nut muffins, and they're gluten-free because I use almond flour and rolled oats with a little bit of baking soda, and that's it. Like, that's the bulk of the muffin. Then I add to it about a cup of chopped roasted and salted pecans, and for the base, like the liquid mixture, I will mash up 3 overripe bananas. I put in about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of maple syrup. There's 3 eggs and some oil, about 1/4 cup of oil, and I just mix that all together. And then I put it in the muffin tin. I bake it at 350 for about 30 minutes, and I get these really fluffy, hearty, delicious banana nut muffins. And honestly, guys, like, I can't even tell that they're gluten-free. I like that they're gluten-free because I'm using the almond flour instead, which has a lot of protein to it. And oatmeal naturally has a bit of protein plus a ton of fiber. So it's just really good and satisfying and filling. I will usually eat about 2 of those with a cup of coffee that I make. Next for lunch, I'm having a Thai 5-grain salad. This is very light, but it's also very filling. The ingredients are a 5-grain blend that I get from my local grocery store, which I believe has farro, buckwheat, barley, I think a little bit of millet, and there's one more, I can't remember the 5th one, but you'll see an image of the bag before I make the recipe. You can also sub in quinoa, and the original recipe that I got this from, it called for quinoa, but that doesn't sit well with me. I have never been able to eat quinoa. I don't like the way it tastes. I found this as a substitute, and it works really well in this recipe. I'm also adding to it some grated carrot. I buy these pre-mixed salad, like cabbage blends at the grocery store. I don't use the sauce packet that it comes with because those tend to have a ton of sugar in them and it's just empty calories. And so I will set that to the side, and I'll either leave it for my husband to use or I just toss it. But then I add to that some green onion, some more mint leaves because I'm obsessed with mint right now, some basil leaves. You can add a jalapeno or like some sort of spicy pepper to this recipe to give it a little bit of a kick. I don't like spicy food, and I also have an issue with heartburn right now. I don't do that, but those flavors would taste really good in this recipe too. And then I also add a 1/2 cup of roasted peanuts that are like kind of roughly chopped up. I toss all of that together, and then I make the dressing, which is about 1/4 cup of olive oil, 1/3 cup of fresh lime juice, 2 tablespoons soy sauce. I use tamari, it's gluten-free and lower in sodium, and then 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. Once I've added the dressing and toss that to combine, I will then stick it in my refrigerator to chill for 30 minutes to an hour. It just depends. I've also eaten it just straight away and it tastes fine. But the great thing about this salad, since it's mostly cabbage and like hearty greens, is that it doesn't get soft and soggy like if you had used spinach or like romaine or just regular iceberg lettuce. So I make a big batch of this and I keep it in Tupperwares in my refrigerator, and I eat that for my lunch throughout the week. It's also a nice salad that I can supplement with anything else that we've got going on in the refrigerator. Like if I'm feeling extra hungry, I might add like a slice of toast with some avocado, or I might do some more veggies with some hummus, or I'll add black beans to it. It just kind of depends on how hungry I am that day. And then for my snack, I am planning to make my own hummus going forward, but right now I have some store-bought hummus in the refrigerator, and so I'm using that with some carrot sticks for my afternoon snack. I have really been into carrot sticks and celery with hummus. I forgot to buy more celery at the grocery store, so today I'm just eating a bunch of carrot sticks, but it's just a really easy snack. It's really filling, and the good thing is I enjoy it, but my kids don't necessarily enjoy it, and so they don't like bother to eat all of mine. And then for dinner, I decided to make a pesto pizza. The dough recipe that I make is super easy. It is actually a pita bread recipe that I get from the Williams-Sonoma bread book. I've had this book for years. Every single recipe I've tried works. Even though it's a pita bread recipe, it's essentially the same base as any other pizza dough recipe. I just skip, there's like a few steps where they want you to cover it and let it get puffy and like stuff like that. I don't do those steps because I don't want pita bread, I want pizza bread. And so I use the ingredient list as my base. Then I assemble the dough, I let that rest room temp for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I divide it out and roll it out. And that's my pizza dough. It makes 2 good-sized pizzas. I usually make one for myself, so today I made a pesto pizza with zucchini and black olives. And then for my kids, I'll make like a classic cheese pizza with marinara sauce. Hey, okay, so I wanted to hop on here because a quick note about pizza dough that I don't think I mentioned earlier. It's really not that hard. I used to think making breads from scratch was terrible, but it's really not. Especially starting out with something like pizza dough or like hamburger buns even. Those recipes, it takes maybe an hour, hour and a half tops, and you're spending a majority of that time just waiting for the bread to rise. Assembling everything took me maybe 15 minutes. Now my dough is in the oven rising. The oven's not on. I keep it in there because it's away from drafts and the temperature stays a little more the same and it rises better. But I use my trusty KitchenAid. This helps me mix everything together. So I'm not spending hours kneading dough like you would traditionally, and I think that's what most people think of with scratch made breads, is that you're kneading dough forever. No, I use a KitchenAid, and you can also use, if you just have a regular electric mixer, like a handheld one, they come with dough hooks. So you can do this exact same thing just in a bowl with an electric mixer if you wanted to as well. And then for my late night snacking, I have a few different things that I go to. I have chocolate covered almonds from Trader Joe's that I will sometimes snack on. I have a chocolate mug cake recipe, but tonight I decided to be healthy and eat a chia seed pudding with some homemade granola and frozen blueberries. I had a bunch of granola that I made a few weeks back, and there was just a little bit left that I wanted to eat through before making another batch. It's really simple. It's just rolled oats with coconut chips and some chopped pecans that I roasted in the oven with some maple syrup and olive oil. The chia seed pudding is also really easy to make. I usually prepare it the night before or early in the morning after I've made my breakfast. But it's just a cup of yogurt, and I use the cashew gurt, 1 cup of milk, a half a cup of chia seeds, 1/4 cup of maple syrup, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a little bit of sea salt to bring out the sweetness. I just mix all of that up in a Tupperware, put the lid on, and leave it in my fridge to set, and it is so good. It's supposedly really good for you too. It's got all of the omega-3s and those healthy fats that are good for baby's brain development. It's good for giving you sustained energy, and there's lots of fiber. There's just like a ton of really good stuff about chia seed. So yeah, that is my guilty pleasure. It's kind of a healthy guilty pleasure, but I'm trying to be really good. I am in my 30s. This is my third pregnancy, and so I want to be as healthy as possible while still feeding my cravings and making sure that I don't feel deprived of all the things I want in life. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up so I know to make more videos like this. I do plan on doing a follow-up in my third trimester because I'm pretty sure what I'm eating then is going to be completely different from what I'm eating right now. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is... Thank you so much for watching my videos, supporting my channel, and just connecting with me and building such a great community of motherhood. I hope you all are having a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!